Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are continuing our specific exploration into the mechanics of money and the engineered path to financial independence.
It's good to be back. And for those of you just joining us, we are unpacking the Golden Path strategy. It's a comprehensive three-stage system developed by Tamir Kaham.
And we always like to set the context on who Tamir is because it really is relevant to the strategy itself. He is the originator and architect of this specific 13-step strategy. He's the creator of the Golden Path to Financial Independence YouTube channel. And this is the one that always sticks out to me. He is the official Hebrew translator of the absolute classic, The Richest Man in Babylon.
Right. And that background, honestly, it creates a really fascinating mix in this strategy. You get these modern, rigorous analytical frameworks from his engineering side, built directly on top of principles that have worked for thousands of years. It really is a solid combination of engineering precision and ancient wisdom.
It's a powerful blend. Now, this strategy is designed very specifically for salaried individuals, people earning a paycheck, who want to make that transition from financial dependence to actual asset ownership.
Right.
In our last deep dive, we covered stage one. That was the psychological foundation, shifting that identity from employee to asset owner and defining a personal vision.
Which brings us to today. We are crossing the threshold into stage two, building financial resilience, and we're going to cover steps 3 and 4 together. That's financial mapping and defining a conscious budget.
Steps 3 and 4. Okay, why group them?
Because they're functionally inseparable. Step 3 is the diagnosis, and step 4 is the treatment plan. You just can't build a conscious budget, which is the treatment, without first knowing your financial reality.
Which is the map.
Which is the map. And a map is, it's useless if you don't have a way to navigate with it.
I think for a lot of listeners, and honestly for me too, this is the moment where the friction really starts.
Yeah.
Stage 1 is exciting. We're dreaming, we're visualizing wealth. But stage 2, now we have to open the banking app. Now we have to look at the damage.
It's the ostrich effect, right? We'd rather just bury our heads in the sand than actually look at the numbers. We all know that sinking feeling at the end of the month.
Oh, definitely.
You check the balance and you genuinely ask yourself, where did it all go? It feels like the money just evaporate.
The magical disappearing paycheck.
Exactly. But the core philosophy here isn't magic. It's a very simple, albeit sometimes uncomfortable, truth. You cannot manage what you do not measure. Financial independence doesn't start with a lucky stock pick.
Or hitting the lottery.
No. It starts with brutal honesty about where you currently are.
So let's get into the mechanics of that honesty. Step 3 is financial mapping. To me, mapping sounds a little bit clinical. Is it just a fancy word for a spreadsheet?
It's more than just listing numbers. And this goes right back to Tamir Kaham's background as the systems engineer. This is so crucial to understanding the golden path. He views financial instability not as a moral failure, but as a system design problem. In engineering, you cannot fix a system. Doesn't matter if it's a car engine or software code, if you haven't mapped out exactly how it works first.
That's actually a really helpful reframe because usually when we talk about looking at our finances, the immediate emotion is shame. It feels like we're walking into the principal's office to get scolded for buying too many lattes.
Precisely. That shame cycle is exactly what keeps people stuck. We need to just drop that entirely. Think of financial mapping like a medical checkup.
Yeah.
When a doctor measures your blood pressure and sees it's high, they aren't judging you as a human being. They're not saying you're a bad person.
Right.
They're just diagnosing the system so they know what intervention is needed. Financial mapping is a diagnosis. It's not a judgment.
Okay, so we're putting on our lab coats. We are diagnosing the patient.
Yeah.
Practically speaking, what goes on to this map? What are we looking for?
It has to be a complete snapshot, no hiding spots. You list every single income source, salary, maybe a side gig, dividends if you're lucky enough to have them already, then the fixed expenses.
Rent, mortgage, insurance.
The stuff that hits every month. Then the variable expenses, groceries, transport, entertainment, and finally, a full list of assets and liabilities.
I can just see people hesitating on that variable expenses part.
Yeah.
That's usually where the skeletons are buried, right? Do I really need to list that subscription I haven't used in 8 months?
You absolutely do, especially the ones you're ignoring. Tamir uses this great metaphor of a lighthouse.
A lighthouse.
Yeah. A lighthouse doesn't stop the storm. It doesn't make the waves go away, but it lights up the rocks. It shows you exactly where the danger is and where the leaks are in your ship.
And without that light, you're just crashing around in the dark, wondering why you're taking on water.
Exactly. And this brings us to a core requirement of step 3, self-transparency. It's a psychological hurdle as much as a mathematical one. It means seeing where the money quietly leaks out.
The forgotten subscriptions.
Maybe it is that streaming service, but often it's deeper. It's about identifying your emotional triggers.
Triggers. You mean like retail therapy?
Right. Financial mapping reveals the why behind the what. When you list out your spending, you might notice a pattern. Oh, every Tuesday, I spend $50 on delivery food. Why?
Because Tuesday is my awful meeting day.
Because Tuesday is your meeting-heavy day, you're stressed, your willpower is depleted, and you're reacting to that stress.
So it's not just I spent $50, it's I paid $50 to soothe my stress.
That's the breakthrough. Self-transparency distinguishes between a financial decision and an emotional reaction. The moment you choose to look at that truth, the moment you put it all on paper, you undergo a shift in identity.
How so?
You stop being a passenger in your own life, letting money happen to you, and you become the pilot.
I love that distinction. Passenger versus pilot. It implies agency. So let's say we've been brave. We've turned on the lighthouse. We see the rocks. We have our map. Now what? That leads us straight to step 4.
Step 4 is defining a conscious budget.
Okay, I have to pause you right there. The word budget has a terrible reputation. It sounds like a diet for your wallet. It sounds like restriction. Like, no, you can't have fun.
That is the most common misconception, and it is the single biggest reason people fail at budgeting. We need to completely reframe this. A conscious budget isn't a prison. It's permission.
Permission to what? To spend.
Yes, it is permission to spend, but to spend on the right things. It is a tool for freedom. When you budget consciously, you are choosing exactly where your resources go based on your values, rather than just reacting to impulses and wondering why you're broke later.
That's a huge shift. So instead of a budget being a list of things I can't do, it's a list of things I've chosen to do.
Exactly. And this connects directly back to the asset owner identity we talked about in episode 2. Remember, step 2 was defining your vision. Well, your budget is simply the mechanism you use to fund that vision. Every single spending category has to face the asset owner question.
And what is that question?
The question is, does this spending move me closer to my personal vision of financial independence, or does it move me further away from it?
Okay, let's play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Because that sounds very noble, but I can hear a listener thinking, that's nice, but I still want to go out for dinner with my friends.
Yeah.
Does going to a steakhouse move me toward financial independence?
Yeah.
Technically, no. So does that mean I can never do it?
No. And this is where the nuance of the golden path really shines. Let's use the restaurant example from the strategy because it answers this perfectly.
Yeah.
Let's say you do your mapping in step 3 and you realize you are spending $1,000 a month on restaurants and takeout.
Which is shockingly easy to do these days.
It is. Now, the regular budget advice, the starvation diet advice would be, stop eating out, you're wasting money. Cook rice and beans at home every single night.
Right. Guilt, deprivation, misery. And usually you quit that after, what, 2 weeks?
Exactly. But the conscious budget approach is different. You analyze that $1,000. You look at it honestly. And maybe you realize that $500 of that was spent on 2 or 3 amazing meals with friends. Experiences that brought you genuine joy, connection, memories. That is what Tamir calls a conscious want.
Okay. So that $500 is approved because it aligns with a value, like connection. What about the other $500?
The other $500, that was just habit. That was ordering lukewarm pizza because you were tired on a Thursday. That was grabbing a $15 sandwich because you didn't pack a lunch. It wasn't joy. It was just an impulse.
Or poor planning.
Right. It didn't add real value to your life.
I see. So the solution isn't to just cut the whole $1,000 and become a hermit.
No. The solution is to consciously allocate the $500 for the dining experiences you love and do it guilt-free because you plan for it. And then you take that other $500, the waste money, the impulse money, and you redirect it.
And what do you do with it?
You turn that $500 into financial independence units, savings, assets, debt repayment.
That is actually profound because you're not stripping the joy out of life. You're increasing the joy because you're removing the guilt from the good spending and you're removing the waste from the bad spending.
Exactly. You're saying a strong yes to what matters so you can say a clear no to what doesn't. That is what an asset owner does. They allocate resources efficiently.
This brings up some terminology that I think we need to define clearly because we're throwing around words like wants and impulses. The strategy breaks spending down into 3 categories. Needs, wants, and impulses. Can we distinguish those? Because sometimes an impulse feels like a need in the moment.
It definitely does, and that's the trap. So here's the breakdown. First, a need. This is survival, safety, or function. Groceries, work clothes, keeping the lights on.
The non-negotiable.
Exactly. Paying the mortgage.
Simple enough.
Second is the conscious want. This is non-essential. You don't need it to survive, but it's chosen intentionally because it adds real value to your life. That's the nice dinner with friends. That's the hobby gear. The key word is intentional. You planned for it. You get real satisfaction from it.
And finally, the villain of the story.
The impulse. An impulse is an automatic reaction to an emotion.
The stress buying.
Yes. Or the sale buying. Buying something just because it's 50% off, even though you didn't want it 5 minutes ago. Or the status buying. Buying something to impress people you don't even like. The goal of the conscious budget isn't to eliminate wants. An asset owner enjoys their life. The goal is to eliminate impulses.
It's interesting. It basically posits that you can have almost anything you want, but you can't have everything. You have to choose.
Correct. And you can think of the budget like the steering wheel of a car.
I like analogies. Break that down for me.
You are the driver. You defined your destination in step 2. That was your vision. I want to be independent by age 50. That's the destination. The budget is simply the steering wheel that ensures you are actually driving toward that destination rather than, drifting off the road every time you see a shiny billboard.
That puts the agency right back in your hands. You aren't being bullied by your bank account. You're directing traffic.
And notice how steps 3 and 4 work together here. Step 3, the mapping, is the GPS showing you where you are right now. Step 4, the budget, is the route you're planning. You can't have one without the other.
Right.
If you budget without mapping, you're planning a trip without knowing your starting point. If you map without budgeting, you're just staring at a broken car in the driveway.
So we're moving from I don't want to know to I choose to know, and then I choose to direct.
Precisely. It's the transition from passive to active. It's the moment you stop being an employee of your money and become the asset owner.
Yeah. All right. This all sounds great in theory. Be the pilot, steer the car. But we need to put this into practice. We always like to give our listeners a challenge for the week, something to actually do before the next deep dive. What is the mission for today?
The mission is simple, but I am going to warn you, it might be tough emotionally. We want you to block one focused hour this week, just 1 hour. Sit down with your partner if you have one, or just by yourself, and you have 2 actions to complete.
Action 1.
Action 1 is step 3. Create the snapshot. Open a spreadsheet, get a notebook, it doesn't matter. List every income source, every fixed expense, every variable expense, your assets and your liabilities. Be brutal. Be honest. Remember, this is for you, not the IRS. No one is grading this but you.
And action 2.
Action 2 is step 4. Take that list of expenses and categorize them. Mark them as essential, important, or optional. And then ask that asset owner question for the optional and important ones. Does this spending move me closer to my vision of financial independence? If the answer is no, that's money you can redirect.
That's powerful. It turns a chore, doing the bills, into a strategy session.
It really does. It changes the narrative from I'm broke to I'm building.
Before we wrap up and look ahead, we do need to pause for a very important disclaimer. We are talking about money, livelihoods, and futures here.
Yes, absolutely. Please remember that this content is for educational purposes only. There are no guarantees of results. Tamir Kaham's success with this strategy does not guarantee your success. Everyone's circumstances, risk tolerance, and starting points are different. You must consult qualified professionals, accountants, advisors before making any financial decisions. This is a framework for thinking, not personalized advice.
Thank you for that. It's so important to keep that perspective. So let's recap what we've done today. We faced reality with self-transparency in step 3. We turned on the lighthouse. Then we built a framework for conscious control in step 4. We grabbed the steering wheel. These are the foundation of stage 2.
Right. We have turned on the lights in the room and we've decided how we're going to arrange the furniture. We are ready to start building.
You've now completed the first 2 steps of stage 2. You have your financial map and your conscious budget. In episode 4, we move to step 5, cash flow stabilization. We'll cover how to eliminate overdrafts, stop financial leaks, and create predictable monthly cycles.
That's a huge one. Because even with the budget, if your cash flow is erratic, it's just so hard to build momentum. We're going to talk about stopping the bleeding so the healing can begin.
We hope you'll join us for that. Please subscribe for the full series where each episode delivers 1 or 2 clear steps forward. And of course, join the YouTube channel for visuals and more deep dives on the strategy, the golden path to financial independence.
You can find it at youtube.com/, at sign, capital TAMIR, capital GOLD, capital PATH. That's at Tamir Goldpath.
Or simply search YouTube for The Golden Path to Financial Independence.
See you in episode 4 where we stop the financial bleeding.
See you then.